Let me ask you something real quick. How long have you been paying for a mistake that already happened? Like the situation ended, the season passed, the people moved on, life kept going. But you? You're still sitting in a courtroom inside your mind, playing the same evidence over and over, as if you being miserable is the proof that you're sorry. What if I told you that some of you aren't healing because deep down you think you don't deserve to? That you've been using self punishment as your version of accountability? Stay with me. Because today we're talking about something that looks like responsibility, but feels like bondage. Day 3, the cost of self punishment. And baby, it's costing you more than you realize. Welcome back, my beautiful people. If you're new here, I'm Dagmari, life coach, podcast host, and somebody who will always tell you the truth with love, even when it's uncomfortable. We're in a 28-day self-forgiveness journey, and let me remind you what this is. Not a performance, not a quick fix, not a happy thoughts only challenge. This is a coming home journey. This is where we stop carrying pain like a lifestyle. And if day 1 was about telling yourself the truth, day 2 was about meeting your younger self with compassion. Then day 3 is about this. Why do we keep hurting ourselves after life already hurt us? I'm not talking about consequences. I'm talking about that extra sentence you keep giving yourself. That internal life sentence you keep serving for the crime of being human. Today, I'm going to tell you what self-punishment really is, why we do it, what it costs, and how to start unlearning it. And I'm also going to share a part of my story I used to bury under shame because I need you to hear this. Punishing yourself does not make you pure. It just makes you tired. Let's get into it. So what is self-punishment? Self-punishment is what happens when guilt turns into a home you live in instead of a message you learn from. It's when you believe, I have to suffer to prove I'm sorry. If I forgive myself too soon, I'm letting myself off the hook. If I stop hating myself, it means what I did wasn't that bad. If I'm still hurting, at least I'm paying for it. Self-punishment can look like replaying old mistakes like a movie on repeat, calling yourself names you'd never call somebody you love, rejecting joy because you feel unworthy, staying in toxic patterns because you think that's all you deserve, not going after what you want because who do you think you are, overworking to exhaustion to make up for who you used to be, constantly apologizing for existing, refusing softness because you think you haven't earned it, self-sabotage disguised as humility. And why does it matter? Because self-punishment is not growth. It's a trauma response. It keeps you stuck in who you were, not who you're becoming. Let me say this clearly. Guilt can be useful. Shame is a prison. Guilt says, something I did didn't align with who I want to be. Shame says, I am the problem. I am wrong. I am unlovable. And self-punishment is essentially you saying to shame, come live here. You can have a room. Let me ask you, what if your healing isn't delayed because you don't know how to move forward, but because you keep dragging yourself backward? Because there's a part of you still convinced you need to suffer first. And I understand it. I've been there. Phew. Okay, let's talk. There was a time in my life where I did not just feel guilty about my choices. I felt like I deserved to be punished for them. Like, punish, punish. I carried this invisible sign on my chest that said, unworthy. Too much. Not enough. Should have known better. And I acted accordingly. I stayed in cycles that I should have walked away from. I accepted less than I deserved. I ignored red flags like they were decorations. I lived in survival mode. But here's the part I didn't want to admit. I wasn't just being hurt by life. I was agreeing with the hurt. I was partnering with it. Life would hit me and I'd say, yeah, I probably deserve that. That's self-punishment. And it didn't come from nowhere. It came from old wounds, from environments where love felt conditional, from experiences that taught me your worth is something you have to earn. So every time I made a mistake, every time I chose wrong, every time I fell short, I didn't just correct, I condemned. I told myself, you always mess things up. You're not strong enough. You're too broken. Who do you think you are to want more? If people knew the real you, they'd leave. And I thought that inner cruelty was me being accountable, but it wasn't. It was me being my own abuser. Can I be even more honest? There were moments where I didn't allow myself to be happy. Like I'd get a good moment and immediately think, don't get comfortable. Something will go wrong. You don't get to just be okay. My body was free, but my mind was still chained. And one day I realized Self punishment doesn't change the past, it just destroys the present. So I had to face this truth. I wasn't healing, I was paying rent in my shame. And that rent was high. It was costing me peace, costing me confidence, costing me love, costing me years. Then came the breakthrough. I was journaling after a really heavy day, and the sentence that came out of me shocked me. I think I hate myself more than I want to grow. Whew. I sat with that and I cried because I realized the truth. I was loyal to punishment because it felt familiar. Familiar like old pain, like old beliefs, like old voices. And I had to decide, am I going to keep proving I'm sorry? Or am I going to start living like I'm healed? Because I can't do both. That was the turning point. All right, let's walk through this together. We're not just exposing the cost today, we're interrupting the pattern. Here are your day 3 practices. Step 1, identify your punishment pattern. Ask yourself, how do I punish myself when I feel guilt? Be honest, no judgment. Do you isolate, overthink yourself into exhaustion, self sabotage, tolerate disrespect, numb out with food, scrolling, chaos, work? Pick relationships that confirm your worst beliefs. Talk down to yourself. Write it down. Awareness is the first rupture in the cycle. Step 2, ask what you think punishment is doing for you. This is important. Self-punishment is a strategy, not a personality trait. So ask, what am I trying to achieve by staying hard on myself? Maybe you think it keeps you humble. Maybe you think it keeps you from repeating mistakes. Maybe you think pain is how you prove you care. Whatever comes up, write it. Because once you can name the function of the behavior, you can find a healthier way to meet that need. Step 3, replace punishment with responsibility. Here's the shift. Self-punishment says, I'm bad. Responsibility says, I did something I regret and I'm willing to learn. So try this sentence. I can take responsibility without destroying myself. That right there is a life changer. Step 4, practice compassionate correction. This is you being your own coach instead of your own enemy. Instead of, I'm so stupid for doing that, you say, I see why I did that. I was hurting, and now I'm choosing differently. Correction with compassion leads to growth. Correction with cruelty leads to shame. Step 5, write a self-release statement. Today, I want you to write something like this. I release myself from the punishment of my past. I am allowed to learn and still be loved. I am allowed to grow and still be worthy. I am no longer my worst moment. Say it out loud, even if your voice shakes, because your nervous system needs to hear your freedom. Let me tell you what happens when you stop punishing yourself. You create space for real change. Punishment keeps you stuck in shame. Compassion creates movement. You start changing because you care about yourself, not because you hate yourself. You stop repeating the past. This one is wild but true. Self-punishment often keeps you repeating the very thing you're punishing yourself for. Because shame says, this is who you are. And when you believe that, you act like it. Freedom says, that's what happened, not who I am. And that creates a new path. You become emotionally safer for yourself. Imagine healing in a home where you're not constantly attacked. That's what self-forgiveness does. Your heart stops flinching at your own voice. You enjoy your life again. And I need you to hear me. Joy is not a reward for perfection. Joy is part of the healing. Now, common pitfall. You might think, if I stop punishing myself, I'll become careless. No, you'll become whole. People who forgive themselves don't become reckless. They become responsible without the chains. So let's wrap this up heart to heart. Self-punishment is a lie. It tells you suffering equals growth. It tells you pain equals purity. It tells you harshness equals accountability. But the truth? You don't have to bleed to prove you learned. You don't have to stay in shame to show remorse. You don't owe your past a lifetime of misery. You owe your future your freedom. So here's what I want you to carry today. You can be sorry. You can be accountable. You can regret what happened without making yourself the villain. Day 3 affirmation. I am done serving a sentence for a lesson I already learned. Say it again. I am done serving a sentence for a lesson I already learned. Let that land. Thank you for being here with me today. I know this one might have hit deep, but I hope it didn't just hit you. I hope it freed you. If this episode helped you name your own self-punishment pattern, share it with someone you love. For more resources, coaching support, journaling prompts, and tools to go deeper, visit ahpeaceorw.wayofthewiseowl.com. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll meet you tomorrow for day 4. Until then, no more punishment, only presence, only progress, only love. Talk soon.